Hello all you fabulous people and welcome to another video. Today I will be sharing a delicious recipe that was my mother-in-law's recipe, and I treasure this recipe for two reasons. One, it is a flavor explosion in your mouth, and we all know I am all about the flavor explosion. But two, my mother-in-law is no longer with us, so every time I make this dish, it's like she's right back in the kitchen with me like she used to be. As always, I will include the link to my blog in the description below. Be sure to click on that, hop over, and print out your free copy for this recipe. It is just in time for summertime, and this is a recipe you'll definitely want to add to your collection. If you are returning, I am so happy that you're here, and if this is your first time visiting, my name is Shawn and I am the CEO and managing partner of my home and family, which is a family of 6 consisting of 3 generations under one roof. I know, it's crazy. Here on my channel, I share my passion and love for creating a beautiful home and life for my family. I'm in my element as a homemaker, and I love to share all things cooking, cleaning, decorating, and DIY. So if that sounds like something that you'd enjoy, I would love for you to pause this video, hit that subscribe button, and introduce yourself down below so we can get to know each other better. All right, let's jump right into today's recipe. To start this recipe off, I am just going to take some of my thick cut bacon and just start dicing it up into nice bite-sized pieces. I don't know about you, but when I see a recipe has bacon in it, I'm even more attracted to that recipe for the flavor that bacon brings to a dish. It enhances other ingredients, it changes flavor profiles, it's so versatile, and I always save my bacon grease to use in other dishes for the exact same reason. Do you love cooking with bacon? Let me know down below. Now, as always, when I'm canning with bacon, I want to make sure that this bacon is super, super crispy. I don't want it raw. I want everything crisped up nice. If you get it to that incredibly crispy texture where you almost think it might be too crispy, it's actually not. That is perfect for pressure canning because it won't break the bacon down and the bacon still holds its bite, which is huge for me. I don't like soggy food. Can I just say, when bacon is cooking in my house, it drives me crazy. Does it do the same thing to you? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Bacon cooking makes you hungry. Can I just say, when you're intermittent fasting like I am, cooking bacon probably isn't the smartest thing to do. The smell is killing me right now, and I still have a few hours before I can eat. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Pray for me. The bacon is nice and crispy, so I am going to use my spiderweb strainer and just drain it on some paper towel. Just look at all this nectar of the gods bacon grease I got from this batch of bacon. I love using it to cook other dishes. Our bacon is nice and crispy. We've reserved our grease in a jar, and now our pan is ready for the next. Now I'm going to add some Hamburg to the exact same pan, and I am going to brown that up good. The recipe calls for some chopped onions, but the kids are eating it, so I have to hide the onion in my dish by using dried minced onion. They just can't find it, and therefore they eat it. Whatever it takes, right? Now that the Hamburg is done, we can start assembling this dish, and I am first going to put my bacon right back in with the Hamburg. We're going to add some ketchup, some white vinegar, some ground mustard powder, and some brown sugar. Maybe even a little more brown sugar. Now I'm going to add some rinsed and drained red kidney beans, a can of good old-fashioned pork and beans, haven't had that in a while, some rinsed and drained cannellini beans, and a can of baked beans. I'm actually using Bush's Homestyle baked beans. It's one of my favorites. And then just stir everything together really good. You want to incorporate all of those flavors and seasonings and beans, and just look at how beautiful this recipe is. All of the different colors of the beans. It really is pretty, and I think it's going to look gorgeous in our jars. Now I'm going to put a lid on this and let it simmer on my stove for 30 minutes. Right after I put the lid on, I went to take my trash out and I had a pretty bad accident cutting my finger severely in a spot that requires me to wear a splint to keep it from bending. I cut it right on like the tip of my knuckle, right there, but just on the other hand, obviously. So if I don't keep the splint on, it will rip the stitches wide open, and that is why it looks like this. It looks a lot worse than it is. I put this tape around it because it was rubbing into my wedding ring and my engagement ring, and I don't want it ruining those. I love my rings. So I put that protective barrier on it, and I'm going to heal up fine. But bear with me for the rest of this video because this was totally not planned and it actually hurt. So since I had that little accident, I have decided that I have to can this cold, which is totally fine. So my jars have been prepped. They've been washed and rinsed. They're all ready to go. Everything is room temperature, including the cowboy beans. So I'm using my jar funnel and I am going to fill my wide mouth quart jars and leave a 1.5 inch headspace on it. Now, this is kind of rebel canning in case you hadn't figured that out by now. And I am by no means telling you that you should participate in it. I am just sharing a delicious recipe that I have been canning for a very long time and that my family enjoys. And yours might too if it's something you're interested in. Always remember your kitchen, your rules. I'm just sharing something I love with you all. When I do any form of rebel canning, I really take care to debubble extra carefully. And I've never had a problem, to be honest. So you just take your time and debubble the jars, adjust it if you need to keep that 1.5 inch headspace. I'm just going to finish filling up my jars. Now, I want to mention that the recipe that I'm providing, I actually doubled, and that's going to give me 4 quarts. You can triple it, quadruple it, whatever you need to do, and it'll come out perfect. So I am just going to finish filling these jars. And then I'm going to use my white vinegar and I am going to clean the rims really good, top and sides. I don't want anything interfering with my seals. I am also going to add a jar of water to my canner just to take up some space. And I'm going to use an old lid and an old ring on that because it really doesn't matter. I don't want to waste a good one for canning water that I'm just going to dump out. Um, and I am going to finger tight all of the lids and rings on my jars. They are going to go into my canner with the extra vinegar. And in case you didn't notice, I'm actually canning on my new stove in my upstairs kitchen, which I've never done before. And the reason I'm doing this is because the downstairs is in full reno mode. It is a disaster. The painters have been down there. There's dust everywhere from the sheetrock. We have floors going in, the plumber's coming, and I need to make it work upstairs. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm actually kind of excited to be canning on the stove for the first time. Now, remember, we are doing the cold pack version because I had an accident and several hours have passed at this point. So I am adding my jars to my canner, which has room temperature water in it. I am also going to add the remaining vinegar, and I am going to let all of this come to temperature together. Then you know the drill from there. We're going to let this vent for a full 10 minutes. Once it vents for 10 minutes, I can put my weight on, let it come up to my PSI number, and start my timer for 90 minutes for quarts. If I was doing pints, it would be 75 minutes, but we are doing quarts, so we're going to process these jars for 90 minutes. What a fun day this has been, huh? I am perpetually flipping the bird, so I apologize. There's literally nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. This is just how my life goes. Real life 101. But now that my timer has gone off, I am going to shut everything down and just let this naturally depressurize, which means we just don't do anything to it. I also want to quickly mention that even though the day didn't go as planned, pressure canning on my new stovetop upstairs was actually quite successful. It fits perfectly, and I just kind of turn it sideways so the vent doesn't go into my vent. All of my jars have sealed. Look at how beautiful that is in there. The beans are all together. All the meat is together. The colors are wonderful. And I want to point out that when I checked the water, it was absolutely crystal clear. There was no siphoning that happened. This was a perfect batch of beans. Now that my canning is done, I want to remind everyone to not forget about your canning journal. It's time for me to go in and write all of my information about this recipe. And also, don't forget it's important to revisit your journal after you open your jars so you can make notes on that batch as well. Good or bad, this is the best canning resource that you can have at your fingertips, and it's a legacy to leave behind for generations to come. I really do hope you'll give this recipe a try. Whether you can it or not, it is perfect for anything you cook on the grill. It has this tangy, savory, but slightly sweet flavor, and the bacon cohesively goes with all of that, the vinegar, the ketchup, all of it just works together. And this is absolutely, hands down, one of the most flavorful bean recipes I have ever had in my life. Kudos, Miss Jane. We all love your recipe. Well, guys, thanks so much again for joining me in the kitchen as I shared my mother-in-law's recipe for cowboy beans with you guys. I really hope that you will give it a try. Don't forget to drop down in the video description below, click the link, hop over to my blog, and print off your free copy so you can have it for your collection. I do apologize how the video is ending tonight. I am just not feeling too good. My hand's really hurting, and it's time for me to go to bed. But I want to thank you all for joining me once again in my kitchen. And again, if you are new here, I do hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button. I would be so honored if you joined the She's in Her Element community. And be sure to introduce yourself down below. I'm really glad you're here, and I hope you'll enjoy what I'm going to bring to you all for 2023. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you soon.